Africa team, Prego Studio Live, 2020 GSL Season 3, Korea's Last Stand.
Last stand is right. TaeJa versus Zest is coming up next. Now, we saw Dark crush Creator back there, but I think Creator had a good game one. I think game two, that could have been any Protoss player. You make a few missteps in the first few seconds and things do snowball. Dark is very good at knowing when to pull the trigger in a rush. But this matchup I'm a little bit more excited for. It's been so cool to see that TaeJa is back and looking as good as any other top tier Terran.
Yeah, he looks great. In fact, he knocked Dark out of the qualifier, the first round qualifier. And don't forget, earlier this year, I think it was season one of the best games of the year, Dark versus TaeJa. That was just a great series.
Yeah.
He's in good shape. And the thing is, we've seen him falter a little bit TDP. It was almost as if he didn't really believe in himself for the matchup. But honestly, when I look at these two fighting each other, I think the right play here for TaeJa, look at that, Zest is taking the mask off.
Wow.
His chiseled chin probably would have ripped through it anyways during the match. But no, I think actually when I think about these two and their strengths and everything, I think TaeJa should want to go to the late game against Zest here.
Well, Zest seems to have a certain play style where he's very in your face, he's very dangerous early on, but it's kind of like you're trying to survive a bull attacking you and you got to use your red flag and outmaneuver him a couple times and then you can eventually spear him and take him down. And then Pete is really upset. But it doesn't matter. The bull's dead and you beat Zest.
Yeah, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
The bull is dead.
Game one, Ice and Chrome is up. Let's see what happens.
영광의 전투가 펼쳐진다. GSL을 위하여. 전투 지원이 들어왔다. 함께 있다. 우린 더욱 강하다. 팀 리퀴, 태자, 윤영석. Read your edge game. Zest, 주성.
So, you know, Zest really is all about optimizing his play and having like the most units he really can at certain moments. And, having some great execution, that type of thing.
So, some of the best timing attacks combined with some of the best tactics.
Yeah.
And I think out of all the players that you think of when you say the unit adept, I think he's the guy that comes to mind for most people. You know, Zest really was somebody that was showing just what you can do with an adept, how abusive you can be.
Yeah, I feel like Zest's play is kind of like he's trudging through Newtonian solids, right?
What did you say?
It's kind of like he's trudging through Newtonian solids. So, like,
okay, Newtonian solids.
Yeah. So, you know, if he just kind of like works on his play in whatever given metagame, he'll go through somewhat slowly, right? But he's got to find his stride, and eventually he can get on top of it, and he can run. But when he falters, when someone knocks him down, when his little metagame that he's doing gets solved, falls back in.
Yeah. Makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're on board.
I was going to basically say exactly what you said, almost word for word.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah. This is pretty cute. The bunker behind the Nexus. You cannot transfer probes in over here. 2 Reapers come inside.
Ah, that's an SCV.
Oh, excuse me. An SCV is really just a slow Reaper without jump or gun or Tosis.
Yeah, that's true. That can build things too.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if a Reaper can build things. We've never tried, but...
Yeah, we're not Terran players. They probably can. Right.
So this is annoying, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Stalkers can try to chip away at this, but it's a lot of damage. and it's hard to mine from these locations. As you can see, the SCV, if controlled perfectly, can actually duck into the bunker.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing micro from TaeJa. Definitely very, very impressive. Look how much damage he's actually put on those. And then he runs up
God,
with a scout.
so great.
Oh, man. So painful. Of course, Zest's actual tech is proxied out on the map right now. He's going to get a probe, too!
And I don't think he's going to get any more here, but this is really incredible play here by TaeJa. Now, let's take a look on the other side of the map here. It's Marauders. I don't see any defense over here at the natural.
No, he might be in some trouble from this. That's for sure. Look at this. Oh, my gosh. There's going to be a mine popping out here in a second, but he's getting some serious damage done here.
And these SCVs can run away, but they don't have anything to fall behind to.
And not a lot of energy left here. He actually turns it off. I'm surprised. I thought he might go and kill at least one more, but
yeah, me
look,
too.
He's got 2 Marauders with concussive, so he can actually kill these.
Now remember that one of these stalkers took some damage early on to the Reaper, so it's like really annoying here. But as you can see, Zest does seem to just barely have enough.
Yeah, it seems like when all is said and done from these early scuffles, Zest did get the upper hand with the Oracle.
Now there is a Widow Mine right over here, but if that's avoided, there can even be a few more kills on SCVs. So this is one of the more unusual PvT early games we've had.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah, it's a lot of weird things happened. They both did pretty unusual builds, and then they both held pretty well. So this is going to be fun to see where the game goes exactly from here.
Zest going ahead and getting his Blink upgrade and 3rd Nexus. We should probably see an explosion of gateways coming out of him pretty soon here. But that's the type of thing you have to look out for when you're playing against him, right? He's kind of, like the early Reaper did pretty well, but it did pretty well for a Reaper, right? Which is not really, it's not like Zest is actually behind from it. It was an okay start, but then
yeah,
have the Oracle fly in and do that much damage, and then you gave him 2 Marauders, like, and the 2 Marauders for 2 Stalkers is like, oh, okay, we can make that trade and pretend it's not bad for Terran, but you got the concussive shells, and that's what you did? You made 2 Marauders, that's what you did with that?
Yeah, it was exciting because Reapers almost never do anything anyway, so to see a bunker put there and to see the cool micro, but you're absolutely right in that. Oh, hold on.
My God.
Oh my God!
All right, GG.
That is one way to lose the entire game.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
All right, let's put this player to sleep. Let's go.
My God.
There is just not very much you can do against this.
No, there's really not.
I can't believe he lost those 2 medevacs, but...
Well, that was, you know, that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Where your opponent's units just happen to be there and you really didn't think they would be there. Believe me, he did not want for those Stalkers to be there right then. He did not expect.
That wasn't part of TaeJa's plan, was to lose those 2 medevacs?
No, not so much. All right. Zest smashing face like first game.
Yeah. Liquefying face.
Yeah.
Turned the face. He didn't smash it.
Vaporizing face.
I think he turned the face into liquid juice and then drank it.
I think he put it through a blender with his protein and then drank it.
Yeah. I think you're right.
So he just got done at the nerd gym tastes.
Yeah. He said, this will go to my abs.
That's where everything I eat goes.
He got protein shake.
All goes to my abs.
Yeah, when Artos and I started, they said, you guys are way too good looking to be esports commentators. Shouldn't you try being models? And we said, hey. Don't try to judge me.
And then I tried to be a model, and they were like, whoa,
hey,
you're way too good at esports commentary to be a model. Why don't you try being an esports commentator?
You want to be model? How about you cover your face up and try to talk about video games?
GSL을 위하여.
How about you put a bag over your head and talk about computer games?
Yeah.
Team Liquid, TaeJa, 윤영석.
Oh, my mom said I was handsome. You're like, no, she didn't.
You're like, you're right, she didn't.
Read your end game. Just choose home.
That hairstyle. It's Edge from Panzer Dragoon Saga.
It's kind of funny the way it is. Seems like it's not styled.
I've only seen one character ever where the hair was combed to the middle like that. That was that reference I made. I'm sure actually knowing how redundant so much of anime is, I'm sure there was plenty of other characters that also had
Yeah,
that.
probably.
Yeah. People are probably tweeting at me angrily right now.
Most likely.
Most of them with avatars of anime characters or Pokemon or K-pop stars. One of those three.
What about the eggs? Can we give
Not
it up
an
for
egg.
the egg bros?
The egg bros are not as common anymore.
No?
No.
Why?
Because Twitter's been around for long enough that if you were somebody who was going to rage on people, you've probably done it enough times that you just actually have a Twitter account that you rage at people on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know?
Makes sense. So no more eggs. You don't want to.
Do you have eggs tweet at you ever on Twitter?
I don't know. I don't think so. Not anymore.
Yeah, I don't feel like I ever see them. So that last game had a cool start. That there was a lot that went on in the early game, a lot more than most StarCraft 2 early games, to be honest. But you know, it ended in a way where the early game didn't really matter. I mean, if you lose your first 2 medevacs full of units and they're going blink,
Yeah.
that's all it takes to die.
Yeah. It was not a great opening from TaeJa, unfortunately, even though the Reaper stuff was neat. The Marauder stuff didn't do what I think he was looking for it to do, and then, of course, took much damage from the Oracle into losing it instantly to the Blink Stalkers. Hopefully he can clean that up a little bit this time. Because the thing is, I think that while Zest can definitely play a late game, I think it's actually the weakest part of his game in PvT. Is his late game.
I think it's the weakest part of his game in general. I think his strongest play is actually the early mid-game and mid-game.
Yeah.
And I do feel like early game in StarCraft 2 is not much of a thing. You know what I mean? A lot of the time.
It's kind of
In
fast-forwarded.
In certain matchups, yeah, there's not... Things pick up in such a way that you can't really say, like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy in the first 3 minutes is just untouchable. It's like, what are you talking about? Like,
well, you have like 1 to 2 units. And
Yeah.
That's about it.
And most of the game is mapped out so that those 1 to 2 units do not much more than confirm what the other side has and try to check for proxies.
Very true.
Changed a little bit from Wings of Liberty. The Wings of Liberty started the game off at a slower pace. Actually, let me ask you this, since we're going to have a little bit of downtime here. By the way, Dark Shrine being made here for Protoss. Do you like StarCraft 2 with the large boost to the workers that we had in Legacy? Or did you prefer let's say we start at Wings of Liberty where you had 6 workers, which was an upgrade from the 4, an upgrade, I should say, at least in numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it does seem like when you have 4 units or 6 units, there's a few more interesting scenarios that can occur.
Yeah.
Where, and to be honest with you, I'm not totally sure where I stand on this either.
Okay.
So I'm really interested to hear your response. But basically, to sum it up, it does seem like if you start out with enough workers, the game shoots itself to a place where, yeah, you both get expansions up, and a lot of times you get a third pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But you do tend to miss out on a lot of unique types of rushes that were occurring. Let's say StarCraft 1, 4 workers, or StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, 6 workers.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly correct in what you're saying here. And actually, I'm going to link you. There's this article on a website called TerranCraft.com where the guy, he writes really nice articles. Oh, look at these ETs warping. That Hellion knows he's in trouble. Hold on. We can talk about that in 1 second here.
Yeah.
Oh,
we'll park it.
Well, he has a Raven, so I guess this isn't going to last long, right? Okay, but yeah, there's an article actually on this, on the 12 worker boost, basically saying what you said. That's really nice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it was such an interesting conversation. I actually had the guy who wrote it on the Pylon show and talked about this some. So, yeah, I definitely do agree with you. There's like some early game stuff that is missing because of it. I think a lot of people agreed with the article that the game was probably better with slightly less workers.
Yeah, it seems like, especially when it first came out, I was really enjoying the worker boost. I thought it was kind of cool to see the game played in a different way.
Yeah.
But now that I've casted a lot of both, phases, I did enjoy a little bit more.
Yeah.
The
It's harder to do riskier early game all-ins and stuff because it's just like everything is... By the time you get across the map, there's so much that's already been mined, you know?
Yeah, well, also if you start out with that many workers, the way that the minerals come in, it makes a lot of sense to expand immediately and defend.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, this is kind of cute. We saw this semi recently as well. Of course, you don't want to get this disabled, but the failed DT rush into Archon drop, I love that we're seeing that cross boundaries, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a big PvZ build for a while, and a lot of times it would just kill them before you even had to morph them into DTs. But, oh, great catch on the ramp, by the way. That was sick.
You know, this crossover of strats and build orders from one match to another is actually strangely common in StarCraft 2.
Isn't that interesting?
It is very interesting because, like, for instance, Hydra Bane, that, like, ended up hitting both ZVT and ZVP.
Yeah.
Really hard on both of them at the same time. But they actually, it was stifled. It started in PvZ, I think, actually, ZVP, and then I think it went to ZVT, if I'm remembering this correctly. But and now this is like the third game in a month that we've seen Archon drops against Terran, you know, which is like, what? Oh my God, that was the sickest!
You're so funny.
Oh!
Yeah, that was pretty cool, man.
Holy! Oh my God!
That was great.
You see that?
Yeah.
That Raven was like, I'm gonna get that Colossus disabled. No, you are not. Sit down.
And now TaeJa's got to go back. Protoss is on the third. Terran is going to be taking the third and a second here.
Damn.
Now, is there going to be any counterplay here from the Protoss? Terran might keep
He already
roaming for a little
counterplayed
bit.
Taesus. You saw the Colossus go in the prism. The game's over, Taesus. Archon drop into that juggle.
Oh, that was sick, man.
That was sick.
So Terran's moving over here to 3 o'clock. I think we may see a pickup, although I don't know if it's a wise decision. There are stalkers. At least we saw them in the main a little bit ago. I don't believe they've been moved. Yeah, they're still there.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna poke from here. See how well that does.
I guess you could get the pylon here.
Yeah, yeah. Cybernetics core as well, I guess. Just trying
What a
to
weird
stop
force
it.
field.
Yeah. Well,
Reapers can jump up there later, Artosis.
yeah. He's opened up the Reaper
That's
path.
right.
Time to make a Reaper
Get
again.
back to your base and start making Reapers out of all your barracks. Well, that was a cool little move by TaeJa. Don't know if it's going to help him out too much as this game continues to pan out, but
It's just a small thing.
more Zealots are coming in here. Both supplies are fairly even. With the +1 weapons and the charge upgrade being done, maybe we see Protoss move out. There is also another Forge coming down here, so maybe Protoss continues to play a passive game and just take a fourth before his opponent.
Yeah, he's actually just kind of going down here to clean up a little bit, it looks like. Blinks down there with those stalkers, kind of funny to see. But yeah, Zest has a pretty darn strong army. TaeJa is getting to that later portion of the game that I was mentioning. I really want to see him play against Zest.
Yeah.
And again, it's not that Zest is particularly weak in this portion of the game, but I think that TaeJa's always been one of the better late game TVP players. He's always had great Viking micro, great ghosts, great army movements against Protoss in the late game. He's very good at dancing around planetaries for defense and things like that. And yeah, it's like when you get into a position where Zest doesn't have some sort of edge that he's eked out by having a great build order or whatever, I think that's going to be about as good for you as it's going to get.
More Archons coming here. And Terran appears to want to expand down here at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we might have an engagement before that. Now, where's the rest of Zest's army?
Yeah, there it is. It's coming in now, and he actually... See, TaeJa's moved out maybe a little bit too quickly here because this is like Zest at his maximum power. Let's see if he can actually break through, though.
Good pickups here on those Colossus. And despite that being a less than ideal engagement from Zest, because his army was spread out, it seemed like an ill-timed moment to be moving on the map here for TaeJa.
Yeah, you could even see with Zest, like he warped in 6 DTs right before that to make Archons.
Yeah.
When you're warping in DTs to make Archons, that's for something very specific because it's actually a bit better cost efficiency normally to do High Templars. So Zest was definitely planning on attacking out there. And so TaeJa meeting him in the center of the map and sieging his tanks when Zalts were already on top of him, definitely costing him a lot there.
So Zest crushes. Yeah, winning 2-0. I think we have an exciting match coming up here with Dark versus Zest. Let's see what Zest can do.
Yeah,
Again, I think Dark is supposed to beat Zest.
I can really see that going either way. I think so far this year, Zest has had a much better year, though. You got Singing Katowice. Dark hasn't really done all that much.
That's true.
Yeah, I think you're right, though, probably. I mean, they both are looking all right, though.
Yeah, they look good.
They've had some rough days so far this year in GSL, but both Zest and Dark looking pretty strong.
Again, both players are expected to get out. We have a short break. Dark versus Zest. The winner's match will come after this short commercial.